while the Eagles are desperate for a win on Sunday versus the Vikings, the Phillies don't seem to be desperate at making any changes. Eagles must win Sunday. Final preview and prediction. Recapping the Phillies, Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thomson press conferences. So much to get into on this Football Friday. Trending in the AM, we are live, taking your thoughts and opinions on all this and more in 60 seconds or 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM, right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live, YouTube and Twitter, you know the drill. Whether you're watching live right now or on replay later today, hit that like button. Would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Please share this show and channel out. And, of course, subscribe to the STT Sports Network, setting the trends for what sports talk should be in Philadelphia on a daily basis. Guys, I'm Phil Stiefel, your host. It's only on the YouTube page, the only place you can vote on our live poll question of the day. Who wins on Sunday between the Eagles and Vikings? Eagles win big. Vikings win big. Eagles in a close one. Vikings in a close one. That is your YouTube poll question of the day. So make sure you vote over there as well for all the Twitter people. I appreciate you tuning in on Twitter, but I would really appreciate you tuning in on YouTube as well and subscribing. Muchas gracias for that. Guys, again, I'm Phil Stiefel. We got lots to get into today as it's the final show. Before we, face the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday the Eagles are in a desperation mode for a victory to end their losing streak. So we're going to get into the game, the keys of the game, what I'm looking for, why I'm concerned and not concerned in this game. Lots to dive into. We'll probably dive into a little bit of that Bengals-Steelers game from last night as well. But also, of course, you've got the Philadelphia Phillies, Dave Dombrowski, the president of the team, and Coach Rob Thomson, manager Rob Thomson, spoke to the media yesterday, and basically we're facing a very minimal change. Offseason is the easiest way to sum it up because, guys, let's not forget, they won 96 games last year. The optics of yesterday's press conference, and we'll get to the comments at Nooms. I see a whole bunch from you already in the chat, Little G, Steven. The optics of yesterday's press conference is not what Phillies fans want to hear, whether it's right or wrong. Whether they're right or wrong for what they said or what they're planning on doing is beside the point. Fans are frustrated with the Phillies' constant early exits from the playoffs, constantly being hyped up as one of the best teams to fall short. They don't want to hear those kind of, next year we'll get them slugger kind of press conferences at this point. That's not what the fans want to hear. They want to hear that there's going to be change, that we're going to be different. Next year's going to be different. But you're not going to make any changes. You know why? Because as long as you keep winning 96 games, as long as you keep selling out Citizens Bank Park on a daily basis, as long as fans are dropping $300 to $500 to pack it in the playoffs, why would they make a change? It's business 101. All right, so we're talking Eagles. We're talking Phillies. We'll get back into the Sixers next week. We'll get into the Flyers a little bit more next week as well. But let's get right to the comments. An early comment. Only fools take road teams in the divisions, the NFL. Yes, Bengals, 33-31 victory over the Steelers. Love to see it. But no one's going to criticize Aaron Rodgers for his 2 interceptions last night. No one's going to criticize Aaron Rodgers for shoving a teammate last night, for celebrating. No one's going to do that. Nah, I already see people criticizing A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts because of that football game instead, and that's just nonsense. Good morning, Little G. Hope you are well. Let's kick some Vikings butt. Let's do that. All right, so we got about 3 or 4 Nooms comments in a row. Let's get to it already. No one wants to hear it, but this team tied its hands in 2022. Unfortunately, everything Dave Dombrowski said was right, especially with Harper. Harper knows it. Yeah, but if you want to So the Harper thing, he's saying, well, he might not ever be the same elite player he was. We all know that. But if you want to move Harper, that's not how you do it, by devaluing him. You want him to be fired up. Do something. Calling him out in the media like that ain't going to do anything good. Okay? And the Trey Turner situation, I get it. It was a mistake. Only way to compete is to get younger, and I agree with that. You only have a 1 in 30-something chance to win anyway. We had our chance, and we let the best team in baseball off the hook. You can't do that. And yes, I do understand the Phillies lost to the best team in baseball, hands down. Doesn't mean changes shouldn't happen. We played a team who matched us pitch per pitch, ran the bases better. Yeah. Base running defense needs to improve without weakening the team. Okay. The bunt and throw at the plate are the difference. The bunt and the throw are what ended the season. The bunt and the throw aren't the only thing that made a difference. So I disagree with that. Good morning, Stephen. Hope you are well. Call it what it was. Call out Harper. Bedlam at the bank was 3 years ago. If you're going to call out Harper, why aren't you calling up Schwarber? Why aren't you calling out Turner? Why aren't you calling out some of the other guys on this team? It's past 8 o'clock. It's 8:06 in the morning. I don't own the haters. I just quiet the haters. Good morning, Adam. How you doing? Hope you are well this morning. So, yes, the Phillies are bringing back all their coaches. Yes, the Phillies seem to not think that there is a problem with this team. Yes, the Phillies feel that tinkering is the answer and not major changes. And I'm here to tell you, the more things change, the more things stay the same. It's just going to be another disappointment next year for Phillies fans. Good morning, Duck. How you doing today? Hope you are well. Schwarber gave 56 reasons not to be called out. And what was his batting average in the playoffs in those 4 games? How many big hits did he have? Take out game 3. Did he even have a hit outside of game 3? I don't give one rat's ass about any of the 96 wins and losses. I care about what happens in October. This is not the 2018 Phillies, 19 Phillies, 20 Phillies. This is the 2025 Phillies, and they came up small again in the playoffs, and that's all that really matters. All I'm told about, it's a long season. They'll be fine in October. Well, they weren't fine in October. And making no changes to the voices that are leading this team, it's a major problem. So Phillies are running it back again. Same old song. Exactly. Yeah, you might trade Bohm or Stott. You might move on from Kepler and Romano. But the core of this team is staying the same. And that's not good enough. Getting Casty off the team will be a big improvement. Well, you're going to have to eat a lot of money there. And that's fine. Good. Get Casty off this team. His attitude wore on even me, Anthony. Good riddance of him. So that's your big change. Get rid of Casty and put Justin Crawford. That ain't going to make a rat's ass of a difference come October. Phil, now do you see why I'm frustrated at Sirianni's response to righting the ship, as we are not changing anything? What, are you saying because the Phillies aren't changing anything? That's why it's... Are you trying to draw a parallel line with the Phillies and the Eagles here? Because the thing is, if that's what you're doing, Sirianni's got a track record of success. He's been to 2 Super Bowls and won a championship. Rob Thomson caught lightning in the bottom of his first year and got us there and has regressed every year since. So I don't see that. The bunt and the throw at the plate were the difference because those lack of attention to detail kind of plays happen all season. Exactly. So that's not why we lost. We lost because of a lack of attention to detail all year. Lack of attention to detail comes from the manager, comes from the coaches and the players. And the fact that we're just going to run it all back doesn't sit well with me. It's going to cost you more for MVP Harper. Middleton is paying for average Harper. Look, I've said it before. Harper might not be an MVP anymore. He's still an all-star. He's still a quality baseball player. But you're not going to fire him up to be better next year by calling him out in the media. It's a nonsense thing to say. Topper said when they don't want him anymore, he will quit coaching. Yeah. And he also said, I am who I am. I'm not going to change. I know what you're doing. The difference is Nick Sirianni has won a Super Bowl. Rob Thomson has not won a World Series. There's also 12 votes on the poll, Adam. So, guys, hit that like button, that subscribe button, that share button. The quicker you hit those buttons, the quicker this channel grows. the bunt Marsh got getting picked off, bad lead on the bunt, the base running, and the bad throw. It's all simple things. But yet they don't work on those things. They don't fix those things. They don't, you got Matt Strom calling out PFP. And then Dave Dombrowski saying, well, he didn't do it, but everyone else did. There's so many things wrong with that press conference yesterday from Dave Dombrowski. So much. And it annoys me. It irks me that I'm going to have to get suckered back in for another long season. Hearing people tweet, well, don't worry, it's a long season. They'll be fine. These bad stretches in May and June won't have any impact in October. The lack of discipline will have no difference later in the season. It was fun to watch two 40-year-olds throw the ball over the field last night. 4 touchdowns for Rodgers. Don't forget to throw in the 2 interceptions for Aaron Rodgers as well, just so you know. We can't forget about that part. The problem with last night's game, Steven, is the fact that all the Jalen Hurts haters are pointing to that game to say that's why Jalen Hurts sucks. And Jalen Hurts will never be that good. There's a lot of people, locally and nationally. Well, A.J. Brown should request a trade instantly. I saw somebody that runs a 50,000 sub YouTube channel talking about A.J. Brown and Jamar Chase. And now that's why A.J. Brown's so miserable. Get him out of here, basically, to paraphrase. So last night's game did more harm to the Eagles than good. But yes, it's great to see Joe Flacco outplaying Aaron Rodgers. It just brought a smile. I fell asleep in the late third quarter of that game, Steven. When I woke up this morning and saw the final score, I just had this big grin on my face, and I loved it. When your response to a ship taking on waters to do nothing is a problem, 6 quarters of not being competitive. You're talking about 6 quarters. I'm talking about 3 straight years with the Phillies, which is I'm talking 1,000 days of Phillies baseball. You're talking about 6 quarters. The sample size is major difference there, Duck. Okay? The bullpen coming back, I guess, too. I think Kirkgreen will come back. He called out Strom, so maybe not Strom. He already said that most likely Alvarado will be back, which, whatever. Can't stand that guy now. But I guess he's coming back. The Grandpa Bowl last night. 33-31. Love it. Love it. What pisses me off is Bruce Bochy is sitting there right there. Otherwise, I have no other issues. I'm still in the Jimmy Rollins boat. Even if Jimmy Rollins is a bench coach, it takes over when he gets fired. But you're not. We thought that if he was just going to be on a 1-year deal, maybe you fire him midway through a frustrating start to the season. No, they're going to tack another year or 2 on his contract. So no changes are coming to Philly. No changes are coming to the Phillies in Citizens Bank Park. I want the quarterbacks ranked in the AFC East. Why the East? I mean, it's Mahomes, or not Mahomes. It's Josh Allen 1 and everybody else 2. Do these Hurts haters think that the Bengals are getting to the Super Bowl? Well, I mean, I was ready last night to tweet out that they should trade everybody on that team. They should bench Joe Burrow for the season just so that, you don't have to you just tank for a pick. But now they won. They're 3-4. Man, look at the Bengals. Is anybody going to complain and crush the Steelers for losing last night? Anybody going to talk bad about the Steelers? The Bengals even had their 2 best defensive players not active because they were planning on trading them. He said AFC East. You said AFC East, not NFC East. And no, Dak is not the best, not even close to it. Interceptions happened. One of the interceptions was a great pass that got ripped out of DK's hands. The other one was an overthrow. And yeah, interceptions happen. But that's not what you not you specifically, people, I mean. That's not what you say when Jalen Hurts makes a mistake. Not you again. I don't know when Joe Burrow's coming back. You don't need him when you got Joe Flacco out there. How does that game damage the Eagles? It was a joke. Because all morning I've been on social media and I've seen the Emmanuel Ochos, the Xander Krauses, the people all over pointing to that game as an example of why Jalen Hurts stinks and A.J. Brown should request a trade out of here. So damage to the Eagles fan base's psyche because people are just using it to stir the pot a little bit. All right? That's all. Not to the Eagles specifically. It was more of a joke about the social media reaction to it. That's all. NFC. Okay, so details matter. And you were wrong. Dak is not one. The extra year was just so Topper won't be a lame duck. I get that. If Bochy goes to the Mets, I will not be happy. Clueless Carlos is on a short leash. Look, everybody wanted Bruce Bochy. I was fine with that. I wanted Jimmy Rollins. I was fine with that. I was fine with bringing Rob Thomson back as long as you fired his staff. Moving one guy's position and bringing in an extra bench coach, that ain't making a difference. Oh, well, there'll be one new voice in the dugout. Yeah, one voice versus 10 of Rob's guys. That's really going to make a major difference. This Phillies team, it's not going to be any different next year. And everyone's going to say, well, next year will be different. What in the world will lead anybody to believe next year will be different? Trey Hendrickson to Philly. It depends on the cost to me, Adam. I've seen people say a third. I've seen people say a second and a third. I'm not emptying the bank account out for Trey Hendrickson, a.k.a. the draft picks. If it's going to cost me a third or a fourth round pick, maybe. But if I got to touch my first or second round pick to get Trey Hendrickson or anybody, I am not doing it. I will risk at max 1 third-round pick. We need edge help. We do. You can get Bradley Chubb for a fourth or a fifth. You can get other guys in here. Nolan Smith will be back eventually. Hopefully he plays a little bit better. But I'm not dumping a first or a second-round pick to bring in Trey Hendrickson. Just not. Phil, it be a random list. You rank. Hurts, Daniels, Dak, Dart. Easy. Maybe, just maybe, people are overvaluing Trey Hendrickson, whose skill set does not come here to fit a. I agree with everything here. I don't know if we're over. Okay, you said overvaluing. Okay. I thought you were saying overrating, but no, overvaluing him. Yeah. He's not a guy that's going to drop back into coverage for Vic Fangio. But on the flip side, Nooms, sometimes a coach has to pivot when you get a great player. If they can bring in Trey Hendrickson to fix a weakness on this team, that's on Fangio. You know, we're not talking about bringing in a Nolan Smith level player. We're talking to bringing in Trey Hendrickson, one of the best sack guys in the NFL over the last half a decade. You pivot a little bit to fit Trey Hendrickson into your scheme. Week 7, bro. Yeah, I know it's week 7. When I play with the Eagles on Madden 26, I get 400 yards passing with Hurts every time. No excuses. Gotcha. Because Madden is everything, right? Another bench coach won't work. Topper's still going to do what he wants to do. And he said that. He literally said that yesterday. I'm not going to change, basically. I forget the exact words he said, but I am who I am, and I'm always going to be him. Basically, he said, I'm not changing who I am. This is what you get. Just like this is what you get every morning, guys. Pathetic. So Burrow's just a system quarterback now, right? Old man Flacco put up numbers as good as Burrow's. Exactly. I like what you're going with there, Anthony. 162 games in MLB, 17 in the NFL. I think 6 quarters of football is equal to 4. I doubt it. I think you're overvaluing that. I'm not going to pull out the calculator there on that, but yeah. I highly doubt. Say, you know what? I want to fact check this here real quick here. All right, so there's 17 games times 4 quarters. So there's 68 quarters of football. All right, did that go right? 17 times 4. So 68 quarters of football divided by 6. So you're looking at, is that right? 11% of the quarters. 162 times 11%. That'd be 17 games. Okay. So you're a little off. So 17 games. It's 11%. I'm actually shocked that number is that high. I won't lie, Duck. I kind of am a little shocked, okay, that the number is as high as that. It wasn't 14. You over-exaggerated by 3%, but it was what it is. What we need to be asking is if these managers even want to come to Philly. Do they want to deal with Harper's attitude? Do they want to hurt these outfield issues? Well, I think that's a great point, Steven. Who else wants the job? They're kind of strapped with Aaron Nolan, Zach Wheeler, and Trey Turner and Bryce Harper. Not that Zach Wheeler's a problem. But you get what I'm saying. That you got a lot of money tied up top end, and you're not going to be able to do too much because Dave Dombrowski said payroll's going to stay about the same. They're not going to increase it next year. Trey Hendrickson is currently injured. Didn't play last night, I believe. He did not play. I don't know if he's necessarily injured or they're just sitting him waiting for a trade so he doesn't get injured. Duck. I think it's one of those phantom injuries. That's just my personal speculation. Looked like since he was more effective against the run yesterday when it counted. Look, the thing with the game last night is if Joe Burrow or if Joe Flacco can target Jamar Chase 20 sometimes, then why can't Jalen Hurts? And it's just nonsense. I want Hendrickson. That would change our entire season. Sure, but are you willing to give up your 1 second round pick, mister, for Trey Hendrickson? Are you willing to give up a second and one of your thirds for him? That's probably what the price is going to be. When next offseason, that second round pick might be Lane Johnson's replacement. When that second round pick might be Dallas Goedert's replacement. That's the thing. I want a Trey Hendrickson in the offseason. Everybody, I'm not saying you specifically, but everybody told me I was nuts, willing to go out and get Trey Hendrickson. And I was willing to give up a third round pick from that. I'm still willing to give up a third round, but I'm not willing to up it any more than that. You got 2 third round picks right now. Okay? I'm willing to give up a third. Maybe even tack in a fourth or a fifth with it. But I see a bunch of people saying they'll take a second and a third or a second and a fourth. I'm not touching that first or second round pick for Trey Hendrickson. Because since he has an OC that has called plays before and is playing chess with the DC of the opposing team instead of checkers when the game is chess. Look, I get it. And this very well might be Kevin Patullo's last game. Problem with this week's game against the Vikings is that we're going up against Brian Flores, a phenomenal defensive coordinator, and take out. Oh, you can't take it out. They've given up 24 or less points in all 5 of their games, the Vikings. 24, 22, 10, 24, 17. Their defense is what everyone's scared of Jamar or Justin Jefferson. Everyone's scared about the offense putting up points against us. I'm not. Outside of their 48 burger, they're averaging 17 points a game. Their defense is elite. So it's going to be very hard. But what you can still do is build confidence in Kevin Patullo by just being effective. You don't have to put up 35 points to change the narrative on Kevin Patullo, but what you got to do is move the ball effectively. If the extra year in the minors pays off for Crawford, then most people will be kissing Topper's hairy beanbag. I don't think Topper had anything to do with Crawford not coming up. I think that was Dave Dombrowski. I also think it had a lot to do with money and preserving his timeline and stuff like that to get paid. But Crawford, Painter, and honestly, Aiden Miller all should be up with this team to start next year. They're still very non-committal on it. Tool's last game calling plays. Maybe somebody else does it. I don't know. But if we go out there and have another stinker tonight, I don't know how you continue on with him doing it. Hendrickson, now here's a guy that can really change a locker room atmosphere. He can maybe get guys like Carter going, can be a vet voice for a very young defense. There's a lot to it. I love Trey Hendrickson. Again, I got crushed for wanting Trey Hendrickson in the offseason. 2 weeks before the season, I was getting crushed for it. And here we are in need of him now. And the price tag's gone up because there's a lot less players available than teams that want an elite edge right now. I don't know if I'm dropping a first or a second round pick on him. He wouldn't cost a first, so to speak, but just so you know, I'm not trading that first or second round pick for anybody at this point. It's garbage. This game is at 1 too good. I love 1 o'clock games. 1 o'clocks are my favorite games. I'm saying get rid of Patullo. I'm saying that he needs help to learn how to do his job. Absolutely. I put together a list of other names that could be brought in to be consultants as well. And that might happen. But I'm saying that Kevin Patullo, this might be his last chance, but the problem is he's going up against such a great defense that it's going to be hard to really judge necessarily. Going to the Sixers game tonight, JoJo playing. They haven't said that he's playing. They said he could play. But it looks like he'll definitely be ready for next Wednesday for the season opener. But you will not get Paul George on the season opener. That's been confirmed. You'll get crushed again. What? For saying I don't want to. So I got crushed for saying I wanted Trey Hendrickson. Now I'm getting crushed for saying I don't want to trade a top-end draft pick for him. Whatever. I get crushed all the time on social media because, my takes are so awful. I'm so offensive with my takes on such a regular basis. I don't know what else I need to do other than make shit up. Carson is ready to face his old team. Look, Carson Wentz is completing near 70% of his passes. He's got 5 touchdowns, 700 yards passing, or 700 yards passing. But he has been sacked 12 times. He does have two interceptions in those 3 games. Can you imagine he's been sacked 12 times in 3 games? That dude, if you sneeze near him, the almost sack category is going to turn into sacks this week. By who, I don't know. But there's a damn good chance that Carson hits the dirt a few times this week. What, Eagles-Vikings best game of the week? Or are you talking about last night's game? Eagles-Vikings has a chance to shake up to be a great game. And it's not just the Carson Wentz revenge game or Carson Wentz return home game. It's the Isaiah Rodgers return home game. It's the Javon Hargrave return game. I really am curious about this Isaiah Rodgers thing. Ed Kratz, I talked about it earlier in the week, who I respect. He's been on the show many times. Report that the Eagles did make a push for Isaiah Rodgers, and Isaiah Rodgers wanted to be here, but for some reason he left. Then Isaiah Rodgers tweeted out, "Don't believe everything you read in the media," basically on a post about Ed Kratz. So I'm not sure who to believe in that situation there. But you got 3 former Eagles coming to town this weekend. Quinyon, a full participant yesterday, is huge. It must have been such a minor tweak that he's out there practicing and going to play this week. And maybe it was just such a light little tweak that they didn't want to risk it on the MetLife turf, Steven. But it's huge with Justin Jefferson. You know, just imagine what the stat line for Justin Jefferson would have been if he had to go up against a Dory Jackson or Keely Ringo. I mean, even Quinyon Mitchell might struggle against him. You know, it's an interesting wide receiver cornerback battle. It's Adam Thielen in the slot against Cooper Dejean. Because if I'm remembering correctly, didn't Adam Thielen, destroy Cooper Dejean last year with the Carolina Panthers? I know we won the game. I guess some would say we got lucky because of a drop, but whatever. I'd love to see how Cooper Dejean rebounds against a guy that smoked them last year. Vikings are a very good football team, Josh. Very good football team. Carson Wentz is a talented quarterback. No one has ever stated he's not. He's just not the vapor. He just has a vapor lock between the ears when it comes to some leadership. Yeah, and now he's got a little happy feet, and even the closest thing of a sack, he just goes down. What's going on, Freddie Defoe? How you doing today? Hope you're well. Wentz isn't holding the ball as long as he used to, but that doesn't mean he can't regress to it. I've seen him 12 sacks in 3 games is 12 sacks in 3 games. Will Rams versus Jags be good? I have no idea. I'm not worried about Rams versus Jags. I'm worried about the Phillies, and I'm worried about Eagles versus Vikings. Thielen is a route technician. He really is. Yeah, I remember he had a huge game, and I remember everyone said that was Cooper Dejean's welcome to the NFL moment. Thielen had 2 good plays against Dejean. Well, the numbers, I just remember vaguely the numbers being big. But he didn't catch it, so it wasn't the game winner. No, Puka's so in doubt. Yeah, Puka's out again. Puka's hurt again. You know, Puka gets injured a lot, honestly. Eagles sacked Wentz 9 times the last time they faced him. I hope they get to him again. They are going to face Carson Wentz. All reports are J.J. McCarthy has practiced, but very limitedly this week. Carson Wentz has practiced in full, taking all the 1 reps yesterday for the Vikings from reports. So it's going to be Carson Wentz. It's going to be a Carson Wentz game. Adam, I was just going to repeat that to everybody. Please like, subscribe, share. 14 people watching. I don't know if you guys realize. It helps. Go, hit it. And those 2 times were so obvious that people elevated the impact in their minds. Maybe. I don't remember what I had for breakfast an hour ago, but I'm trying to remember a football game from a year ago. Maybe it's just all in my mind. Maybe. I don't know. Here, I'll look it up real quick. Now I want to know. Now I want to know what the numbers and the box score was from that game. Now it's not necessarily meaning that it was all on Cooper Dejean, but I remember Thielen having a big game. Box score, we won 22-16 that game. Adam Thielen had 9 catches for 102 yards. So a little bit less on the yardage than I thought, but actually I was going to say like 720. So I was close. He did get cooked on 2 plays. And welcome to the NFL moment. And I'll be curious to see how he reacts to it this week, how he improves upon it this week. I mean, he's a much better player now, much more advanced player now, much more mature player now. I worry more about the Vikings defense than I do about the Vikings offense, especially with Quinyon Mitchell going out there, especially with Jalen Carter back, although Jalen Carter went from full participant to limited yesterday, which I'm assuming that's just a precaution thing. You don't need him practicing all 3 days if he's banged up. I would expect Quinyon to go from full yesterday to limited today. Yeah, and Cooper wasn't playing in base last year because Darius Slay was still here. So it's very possible. Very possible. I already moved off from that page. I can't even look at any more details about it. I still find it very hard to figure out how this game's going to play out. Like, we want this offense of the Eagles to explode against the Vikings, right? We need for our confidence in this team to see a 30 or 35-point output from the Eagles offense. But again, let me remind you, 24, 22, 10, 24, 17. That is the offensive output against the Vikings defense this year. Nobody scored more than 24 points against them this year. Now, they haven't played great offenses. Chicago, the Bengals, the Browns, the Falcons, the Steelers were their losses. And even in the losses, they only put up 20-some points again, low 20s. So it's one of those things where we have to go into this game hoping that we see a better version of the Eagles, but understand we're going up against a very good Vikings defense. Luckily, the Vikings running backs don't pose too much of a threat this week. The wide receivers and Brian Flores' defensive scheme is what makes me think the Eagles lose in a close one, unfortunately. Dude, I predict Eagles wins all the time. Call me a homer on Friday mornings. That's fine, Steven. But I would not be shocked if the Eagles go out there and drop a third game in a row. The biggest thing to me that tells me the Eagles won't lose 3 in a row is Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts' leadership. That, they've only lost back-to-back games 4 times in the last 3.5 years, since week 7 in 2021. Now, I know they lost quite a few games in a row in 2023. That was part of that collapse. I get all that. But, man, I got to think in my mind that they will not let this team lose a third in a row. Viking safety Theo Jackson said the team has spent the whole week working on run defense to prep for the Eagles. Joke's on them. Patullo going to call 50 passes. I hope not. Not because I don't think Jalen Hurts can't win when throwing the ball. He can. We know the numbers, Anthony. He's very good when he throws the ball a lot. But balance is what makes it work. Balance is what makes the dream work. Don't mess around with Carter's heel. You know my fears with that. Oh, I know. Achilles. And I get it. And it looks like Nooms, am I crazy to say? I kind of hinted at it and suggested it. Am I crazy to say? I would have said everybody, Carter, Quinyon, and Landon 1 more week. Landon 2 more weeks. I would sacrifice a win this week to get all 3 of those guys healthy coming out of the bye. I really would. They'd call me crazy for it. Yeah. But you need Carter healthy, or as close to it as possible. I don't know how you'll get him into physically in game shape anymore, but you need him healthy. It is so weird to see the Birds being a better pass blocking team than run blocking. That is really out of kilter. Absolutely. And I've said it for years that we're always a better run blocking team than pass blocking. In fact, over the last couple of years before this year, we were actually a pretty bad pass blocking team. That Jalen Hurts and his mobility made them look like a little better than they actually were. How many times did Jalen Hurts save Lane Johnson from giving up a sack because he escaped it? Always division games is way more important. What will help keep me from going full mental mode if they lose is that they have a lot of football left to find a winning formula. NFC East is struggling. Everybody's struggling, Steven. I mean, do we believe the Falcons are as good as they're playing right now? No. Do we believe some of these other teams are as bad as they're playing right now? No. Like, there's so much parity in the NFL. I mean, the 4-1 Steelers just lost to the tanking Bengals. Now they're not tanking anymore. Like, think about it. This is going to be one of those years where 3 weeks left in the season, maybe only a couple of playoff spots are locked up. Because that's just what it is. That's how it is. You fall to 4-3, yes, the world will be falling. We'll be burning the city down on Monday. But big picture, it's not the end of the season. Lose this week and start to find it versus the Giants. It's possible. I wrote down in my score list here multiple score combos that I think the Vikings win. You know what tells me it also is the line? Eagles are only a 1.5-point favorite against the Vikings team. The Vikings that are starting Carson Wentz in Philadelphia against the Eagles coming off a 2-game losing streak, the Eagles are only a 1.5-point favorite. Because this Vikings defense is legit scary. This Vikings defense is good. And the offense, they're as good as they can be. I don't know. I see people predicting big blowouts and stuff like that. I just don't see it. It's one of those situations that I'm worried going into this Sunday. The way this season is playing out is having the bye week at week 9 going to be beneficial for the final push of the playoffs. I think that's a great question, Steven. I think it's beneficial if they lose another game or two going into the bye. Absolutely. It'll be beneficial because we got injured players. But if we had the bye earlier this year already, some of these guys might be healthier at this point. And maybe we wouldn't be in the spot. The week 5 bye last year helped to get us out of our 2-2 start and 2-2 rut. Oops. This one here. Oops, my bad. Did I say in Philly? I did say in Philly. Interesting. Sometimes my mind wanders. Sometimes it wanders. But good job catching that one on me. The way this season is playing. I already put that one up there. Eagles on the road, dude. Sorry. You guys love to call me out when I make a slight slip of the tongue. Don't you guys ever have a slip of the tongue? Vikings defense is 24th against the run. They're only good at pass defense. I just look at the total points given up, Anthony. And total points given up is very few. Last night I looked, it was 1.5. I just go by what ESPN says. That's I was just on the ESPN Gamecast page. So it might be different on DraftKings or FanDuel or Fanatics or whatnot. But yeah. All right, so it's in Minnesota. Anyway. My apologies. No wonder I can't get more subscribers because I had a slip of the tongue there. I said it was in Philly, not Minnesota. My apologies. We did gain a new subscriber despite that. We're at 767. We do have 11 people watching, 12 people, 13 people watching, only 9 likes, although there is 16 votes on the poll. Right now, leading the way is Eagles win, a close one at 38%. Eagles win big at 50%, and Vikings 12%. It's a dome. Yeah, I love my domes. What time do the Phillies play tonight? Hold on. Let me check. I can't find it. I can't find it, Adam. What time do they play tonight? I don't know. But Rob Thomson says, I am who I am. So don't worry. It'll all be okay next year, Adam. I'm going to go Sixers scorched earth on the Phillies next season. I actually care more about the Sixers this season than I do about the Phillies next season. And we haven't even started the offseason for baseball. Power rankings of my interest in Philadelphia. It's gone from Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, Sixers to Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, Phillies at this point. Just such a joke of a press conference. If we get healthy, 12-5 is still on the horizon. I agree. So I honestly think the World Series was last week. I agree. And look, I get what Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thomson said. We ran into a juggernaut of the Dodgers. I get that. And they're not wrong in saying that, Nooms. But what's wrong is the fans don't want to hear that. Optics. I've used the word optics on this show 3,000 times talking about Philly sports scenarios in the past 4 years. The optics of saying, well, we just lost to the better team, and look, the Dodgers are a great team, and they're defending champions. We don't want to hear that. We want to hear, how are we going to get better? How are we going to make sure this doesn't happen again? Well, guys, look at it. We won 96 games. Guys, look, we just lost to the Dodgers. They have great pitching. Look, guys, we did. No. Either don't say anything or phrase it in a way that doesn't make it seem like they don't really give a shit. Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, throwing the Wings and the Union ahead of them too. Exactly. But they are wrong because the players were not prepared to play a team they have beaten and been competitive against. Absolutely agree. Chatter is inner Dennis Smith. Dave Dombrowski, if he wasn't going to say the right thing, just don't say anything. Dave Dombrowski knew when he said that the fans would be pissed off. He didn't care. That's the thing. Dave Dombrowski carries himself with this air of, I am better than you. I'm smarter than you. And dang gone it, people like me. Rob Thomson carries himself with an air of, I don't give a shit what you think about me. And in theory, I like that. Sometimes keep that personality to yourself. It was a disaster, okay? Oh, I do like Dave Dombrowski pushing back on the Strom's comments. And it does sound like Dave Dombrowski. But see, here's the thing, Steven. If you want to trade, and I'm not suggesting trading Harper or not. I'm not saying that. But if Dave Dombrowski's plan was to find a way to trade Bryce Harper or Matt Strom, going out in your end-of-season press conference and criticizing one for not practicing and criticizing the other for not being elite anymore, is that how you get them traded? Is that how you're going to line people up? Let me take Matt Strom. That guy don't practice. I want him from you. Oh, give me Bryce Harper, even though he's in a decline, you say. Is that how you go about business? No, that is not how you go about business. We played a way different LA team. They got rid of their bullpen flukies and replaced them with stars. And I said it before. We lost to the damn good team, the best team in baseball. I get that. I don't want my president of baseball operations or my manager saying that is the excuse on why we lost. Well, they're just a better team, blah, blah, blah. You could have said, well, they got us. We're going to spend this offseason figuring out how we can get better than them. Don't use it as an excuse on why you lost. Use it as a reason to fix this team, to make them better. They got more creative than us, yeah. And that's on your manager and president that builds the team. Dave Dombrowski doesn't have a creative idea anywhere in his body. Dave Dombrowski is literally resting on his laurels of winning a title 400 years ago. And he carries himself like he's got 5 championship teams won that he built. Honestly, I think he only has 1 championship. I know he's been to 3. 2 or 3. I think he only won 1 World Series. But anyway, that's beside the point. You got to put your players in a position to succeed. You got to put your players in a better position to win. It's an old Andy Reid adage right there. Schedule loss for next year and playoffs. Look, the Phillies, the way this offseason is shaping up for the Phillies, basically running it back, means we're going to win 90 to 95 games again next year. Be in the playoffs again next year. But it's going to be the same old disappointment. Yes, Topper won a World Series against us with the Yankees. I know that. I was talking about Dave Dombrowski on that. But I know Topper won one. I know he's been around a long time. Spent a long time in New York as a bench coach. Because that's what Rob Thomson is. Rob Thomson is a great bench coach. Terrible manager. I really wish MLS didn't move to Apple TV. I agree. I was slowly becoming a Union fan. Went to a few games, was watching them. Now, not spending money to watch soccer. Although it is a good product and it's a good game to watch. I can say that I have grown over the last couple decades into a soccer fan. But that's it. He won 2. I know he's been to a few, and I know he won the 1. I didn't know if he won the second one or not. Whatever. But he carries himself. They're 40 years ago, 60 years ago, 100 years ago. Dave Dombrowski should know better in a city like Philadelphia to go out there and make excuses. Dave Dombrowski should know that this fan base demands better. But as I go back, why would they make changes? They sell out the park every night, all year long. 40,000 tickets every night, all year long. Come playoff time, there's such hot tickets, people are dropping $500 to go to these playoff games. Well, you know what? Until you change. We won with the Marlins, Dave Dombrowski? See, I know he took the Tigers pretty far. I didn't know it was with the Marlins. I forgot about that. I can watch the Premier League on NBC on weekend mornings for nothing. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I forgot about the 97 Marlins. Okay. He spans time. I can't argue with the dude here. Look, I've never doubted his success in MLB. I'm being a little sarcastic with my comments because I'm frustrated with the way he handled it and what his general plan seems to be, Nooms. But obviously, he is a serious, executive in baseball. One of the better ones in the history of the game. I get that. Okay? I get it. The problem to me is the optics of yesterday did not make me feel better going forward. Oh, absolutely. That's what got me into soccer. I always say when I worked on cruise ships, Duck, you get ESPN International on a ship back then, not ESPN regular. And no matter where you were. So I was stuck being a sports fan. Whatever's on ESPN, I'm watching. This was back when ESPN was good still. Premier League was on all the time. So I watched a lot of Premier League soccer back then and just soccer in general back then. So I became a fan. Building a baseball team is so ghetto. You're supposed to sip on an expensive bourbon. No. The golf claps, it's for golf itself. And the bourbon, you don't drink bourbon when you're watching sports. Well, maybe you do. Bourbon's a late night thing. I think they wanted to go with Crawford this year, but somehow got in a wrong person's ear. Crawford and Miller could make a huge difference. If you listen to what he said yesterday, it doesn't sound like Ada Miller will be here next year. They want him to play every day. They're not sure if he's ready to. So Ada Miller is a long shot on this roster next year. Crawford will be here next year. He'll take over Casti and Castellanos' spot because they will move on from Castellanos. So he'll be your center fielder. Marshall will be your left fielder at this point, and who knows in right field. This isn't Seattle. We aren't serving king crab and dude, serving king crab legs at your baseball stadium. What that? Who wants a crab leg while they're watching a baseball game? Like, I love crabs. I love crab legs. I love it. I love a little crab boil. But I ain't eating crabs at a freaking baseball game. Are you freaking nuts? That's what's wrong with baseball right there. Who says you can't watch sports and drink bourbon? I question my own comment there because I do all the time, Big Al. I actually do it very often. Is Bader coming back? It depends on the price. Remember, you got to remember, Bader is a guy coming off of his career year. He's also 31, going to be 32. There's not necessarily, if his value is what Spot Track projects it to be, 2 years, $20 million, sure. But I expect Bader to cash in on his one good year and get a 3+ year deal, 3-year deal, I'd say, in that $35 to $45 million range. And in that case, Adam, Bader is not coming back. Miller will be next year's Otto Kemp. He will have to come up at some point because of injuries. Maybe. There was talk about yesterday about how Otto Kemp's having surgery on his knee. I guess he had a fractured kneecap or a chipped kneecap, and he played through it. It sounded like Otto Kemp is going to have a big role in this team as the super utility guy on this team next year. Guy that's going to start in the outfield, infield, all over the place to fill in. And I don't know. I guess that's okay. Doesn't excite me a lot, but doesn't, whatever. If I'm in suite and take down some, maybe in a suite, maybe, but no. Sporting events is not for crabs. Aiden Miller would depend on how well he does in fall ball. If what he does is equivalent to, I thought he wasn't playing Arizona Fall League this year. You absolutely see the guy next August. I don't care about next August. I'm starting about right now. I'm talking about making changes day one. Drink bourbon when watching the Kentucky Derby. That's a sport. I watch football with a little scotch every once in a while. Yeah. I was never a scotch guy. I've been becoming a scotch guy over the last couple of years. Bader may erroneously wait out the market. That is how he could come back. That's true. He could be like, oh, I'm going to play my cards. I'm going to try to get the big deal, not get the big deal, and then come crawling back to us on a cheaper deal. Otto Kemp equals Michael Kadire. That's not a bad, I mean, I don't know if that's a bad comparison or not. Like, I don't know if you, like, that might be a fair comparison, honestly. It very well could be. Guys, if you haven't, hit that like button. You haven't subscribed, and you haven't shared this out. I really had a goal of 800 this week. The 800 subscriber number ain't happening this week. It is what it is. But, guys, keep hitting those buttons. Look. The Phillies are in a tough spot. It's hard to fire a manager coming off a 96-win season. It's hard to make drastic changes to a team that's got a big payroll and 96 wins. But you know what? I put this blame on one person and one person only. And that's John Middleton. John Middleton plays the part of the great owner like Jeffrey Lurie. He's always rubbing elbows in the stands with the fans. He's always taking pictures, shaking hands, kissing babies, saying, I want my effing trophy back. But then behind closed doors, all he really cares about is keeping those seats filled. Keep making the money. So I question whether John Middleton really cares. Like, he cares about winning a trophy, but I don't think it's his, like, Jeffrey Lurie lives, sleeps, breathes about winning that trophy. Jeffrey Lurie cares more about his trophy case than his pocket. I question John Middleton on where winning a championship is on his priority list with the Phillies. Miller absolutely looked like he belonged in his time at AAA. It really started to click in August for him. I agree. And I said you should have brought him up in September. Bader not being available to the playoffs may have hurt his chances elsewhere for a bigger contract. I mean, it was just like a little hamstring tweak and whatnot. Like, he did show up and like he did come out and pinch hit a couple times, Steven. I don't know if that little hamstring pull changes things with Bader or not. It's just, this is his one chance to get a real big paycheck. And I wouldn't, if he went to the worst team in baseball to get that big payday, I wouldn't fault him for it. He had a career year. Right when it, you know, how many players, Steven and guys, actually have their career year when they're entering free agency? Some guys crack under that pressure. So, more power to him to go out and capitalize on this moment, without a doubt. My reaction when he signed Schwarber, Cassie, are we going to subcontract out our defense? Supposedly, according to the Phillies, you don't need good defense to win. That's what they say. Will bring money. Simple math. Yeah. My reaction, we signed Trey, more 30 and above dollars for small. Look, I just kept saying we're going to have the only team that has 5 starters playing at 40 years old. I don't mean the injury itself, but more he didn't have the opportunity to showcase himself. Okay, gotcha. I don't know. There's desperate teams out there that don't have $300 million to pay, like the big free agents. Like, who's free? Big. Pete Alonso's going to get 30 plus a year, 20, 30 a year. Kyle Tucker's going to get 30 a year. Bregman's going to get 30 plus a year. There's a lot of markets and teams that don't have that money. If you can go out and get a player coming off a year like Bader did for 15 a year, those mid-market teams are going to jump all over it. So it's just going to make it very difficult for them to bring him back. What's up, Mr. Bruce Bryce Harper? How you doing? Hope you are good on this Friday morning. We're talking Phillies. We're talking Eagles. We're talking, it's Friday. We're talking about my Hers guy, the guy that stocks my shelf. Okay? Got into an argument yesterday with me at the pizza shop about who's better, LeBron or Michael Jordan. I don't want to start this conversation, but I said I'd call him out. He says he occasionally listens while he's driving around. And I told him, and I quote, you know why Michael Jordan is greater than LeBron James? And he said, why? Because you're wrong. And I'm like, why? Because I'm always right. And that's why. Because I say it is, so it's accurate. I'm not a Casty hater, but Dave Dombrowski has a blind spot for that guy. Look, Casty, I don't know. It's a tough one, but he's got to go. Every day's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, Bruce. I wear a top hat and tuxedo at every Phillies game. Those animals waving towels and wearing baseball caps. I would love to see that, mister. I want to actually dare you to do that now. He is clutch, but his time is done. You can't have people not buying in. Yeah, absolutely. I waited to today to make my prediction for the game, and I feel it'll be Eagles 24, Vikings 14. Now, that's a score I can see. Because everything I've talked about today, the Vikings defense is elite. They've never given up more than 24 points this year. So 35, 37 points for the Eagles, it's not going to happen. It's can the Eagles defense keep the Vikings to something like 14 or 17 points. So I don't dislike that. I like that, okay? I do. Mitchie Poo is in the house. Yes, 2 more. We gained 1 subscriber today. Guys, if you haven't, like, subscribe, share. Sitting at 767. The 800 number that I wanted this week, Mitchie Poo, just not happening. Feel Kobe, no. Kobe's 3. I don't want to make this a conversation about greatest basketball players of all time. I just wanted to call out my Hers guy just for the 1% chance he's listening right now. That's the only reason why I did that. 24-17, again, a score I can get behind here. I don't know. Where's Anthony? I know you commented about the Phillies here, but didn't pop up on my screen. Where is it? Cassie at 200 with 5 homers in the second half is also the worst defensive outfielder in baseball and this terrible locker room guy. I don't know why that didn't pop up on my screen. Philly signed Schwarber. There's no way Bader is back, but I'd personally rather sign Bader and use Schwarber money to sign Ranger. I'm out. I'm okay letting Ranger Suarez go. I know it sounds crazy, but you got to bring up Andrew Painter. Can you really give? I was looking at like some other pretty big time left-handed free agent relievers in the last couple of years that have gotten big contracts, and you're looking at a 5-year, $140, 4-year, $120 million contract for Ranger Suarez. Can you have a third pitcher making big time money in your rotation? You got to sign Luzardo next. Hell, I'd give Luzardo a contract extension now, pull a Howie Roseman and get it done before it gets too expensive. Can you really do that? I don't know. I don't know if you can have 3 pitchers in your rotation making big money. Did you make? I did not. I always save it for the end of the show. I'll get to it soon. How you play on the road is usually a good gauge of the direction you're moving. Well, let's get in a good direction right now. Do you like the new YouTube studio? When you end your live stream, it changed after the YouTube update the other day. I didn't notice it when I was setting this show up yesterday on my laptop. You mean on the app, on the phone, or the website? I don't know. I didn't notice any change. All right, we gained another one, right? 768. There's 19 people watching right now. That means there should be a lot more votes and likes and subscribers. Let's go. Hit those buttons, guys. So I did. We talked about it. It's great to see. Great to see. It just made me so happy because it was against Aaron Rodgers. Watching Aaron Rodgers fall. Can we talk about Aaron Rodgers for a second, actually? We'll get back to the Eagles and Phillies in a second. Aaron Rodgers throws a big touchdown pass to take the lead. 2.5 minutes left in the game. Celebrating. One of his players comes and jumps up on him, knocks him down, and he shoves him off. Just up at me. Aaron Rodgers is such a D-bag. He's such the worst. He's awful. No one will criticize. I saw people taking Rodgers' side. When you shouldn't try to celebrate with your quarterback, you risk hurting him. No, Aaron Rodgers is an a-hole. He's the worst. And right there, that moment encapsulates why his personality irks me so bad. Highest paid defense in football. Who does? The Vikings? Who is the highest paid defense in football? Lots of the little detailed things are magnified on the road. It's an indicator how well you have your shit together. Absolutely. Steelers defense. I mean, you let Joe Flacco throw over 300 yards against you. That's not good. I'll say that. Not ideal. And that just goes to show why the Eagles season is not over. The amount of parity in the NFL this season is intense. It's insane. Like, I can't imagine a world where so many teams have won games they shouldn't and lost games they shouldn't. He's selfish and he only cares. Absolutely, Bruce. He's the worst. The Winnipeg Jets are so effing good. They play almost perfect road hockey. I got home from work. I turned the Flyers game on. Saw they're getting blown out. I'm like, let's go watch some Thursday night football instead. But the Jets are a good team. First Flyers game I ever went to was a Flyers Winnipeg Jets, the old Winnipeg Jets. What was that like? It was late 80s, very early 90s. I remember my first game I went to for every sports team. And but instead of, I saw my man what's his name? Raiders Frank, but he's a big Flyers fan on Twitter. Love the guy. Nice guy. We battle sometimes. But what happened to goalies playing, like having a number one goalie and then playing 55, 65 times a year? Like, Vlad's not the answer long term, but he's better than Urson. And we're in this every other game rotating goalies. How can you get in a rhythm as a goalie when you're only playing every other game? Grandpa Flacco's been on the roster for 10 days. And you got all the teams he's faced complaining that the Browns were doing them dirty by trading in the division at this point of the season. That's not fair. You know what's not fair? Your defense gave up all that shit. So I predict the Eagles will still win at least 12 games if Nick doesn't let Patullo keep calling plays. We're going to find out. This might be his last game calling plays. We'll see how it goes. Falcons lose 30-0 to the Panthers a few weeks ago. Then last week beat the Bills. Exactly. 2 weeks ago they lost to the Panthers. This week people are saying, can they get to the Super Bowl? It's great for entertainment. It's frustrating as hell when you're a fan of a team. You know what I mean? Wouldn't judge the Flyers' upcoming season on that game. Maybe how they would look in the playoffs, but not the rest. Yeah, no, I'm not judging them on that. We're 4 games of the season. I'm not judging anything. I work with a couple of Yinzers, and they are so good. The Jets won the President's Trophy last year. They are crazy good. I saw Carter Hart signing. That has not been officially announced by the Vegas Knights yet, the last I checked, but a lot of reports that it's happening. Whatever. Glad it's not the Flyers. That's not anyone's business but the Browns and teams they trade with. Exactly. Bunch of crybabies over there. Smash, marry, or unalive. Rhea used Amy Fadul. What? Molly Queer, or however you say her name. I don't like the fact that you put the unalive. But I think it's pretty obvious what the answers are on that one. I think there's a lot of comments not translating over here. I see things over here. They're not coming up over here. But whatever. Anyway. Oh, we're past the top of the hour. It's 9:05. Trending in the AM on the STT Sports Network. Setting the trends for what sports talk should be in Philadelphia. Like, share, subscribe. Do your thing, guys. Let's keep going. We will be live on Sunday for the Eagles game again. It'll be about 12:50, about 10 minutes before kickoff. I will go live. So make sure you get your popcorn ready. Make sure you get your beers out or your bourbon at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And make sure you join me for the game, at least for a little bit. Greatly appreciate it. NBA players only play 50 games anymore. NFL, you can't taunt. Baseball pitchers only throw 6 innings. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree with this. Soft. I'll tell you, Allen Iverson, I think recently was asked about this. And he's like, could you imagine them telling me load management? And he just scoffed at it so much. I get it. Times have changed. Can't watch. Yes, the Vikings. Yeah, look, Sam Erston wasn't good last year. People told me this offseason it was okay going into the season with him again. I said no. The comments do that sometimes. They don't show up over here. I don't know what happens. They're over there on the YouTube screen, but they're not here on my StreamYard. I don't know what happens there. Golf fans can't call Rory an asshole. Why not? I mean, he is. But he's still a damn good golfer. We need to change that to marry, sex, and kick to the curb. Yes, exactly. I don't know about the unalive part. Was kind of a little awkward for me there. Darth Vlader has been good. Yeah, absolutely. Why does anyone call him Darth Vlader? I prefer Vlad the Destroyer. Personally, is what I would go with. Did he have it? Oh, I'll have to go check it out after this show. But it's the truth. Sports have gotten soft, right? Sports have gotten weaker. Got to protect the players. Load management, scheduled days off, scheduled losses. All of it. Vlad the Impaler? No, Vlad the Destroyer just sounds good. It just rolls off the tongue. Just sounds good to me. I said Vlad the Destroyer. It sounds good. The way science and medical profession have advanced, there's just so many risks brought to light now that couldn't be found back in the day. I get it. I get it. I don't care. I don't want my soft-ass players. Play every day. It is kind of funny, though, the thought about, we talk about it with NBA, rest days and no back-to-backs. But, with goalies not playing every game or not as many games is something that I never really thought of, but is actually very true. Never said I was making a historical reference. I just said I like the name Vlad the Destroyer. I think it rolls off the tongue very well. So sue me. I'm also the guy that said we were playing in Philly this week. Don't make you go into hiding, K1, like Rick. They always want to make sure nobody can hit the quarterback because the NFL is afraid nobody will watch the game if the quarterback gets hurt and the quarterback is the star. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, you're not saying anything that's not true at all. Nothing you're saying is not true there. Absolutely. They're always protecting the quarterback. It's a passing league. Absolutely agree. They need to put the same foam inside a helmet that they used inside the cars in Demolition Man. Demolition Man. Extremely underrated movie, to be honest with you. I mean, Stallone, Snipes. I mean, when you think about bad action movies, 80s, 90s, made by Stallone, Seagal, Van Damme, and whatnot, like, Demolition Man is up there as one of the best. It was definitely not a Ridley Scott-made movie, though. You guys, with all your fake accounts you make, I should have 3,000 subscribers now. This is why I feel Kobe is number one, is they always protected MJ, but not Kobe as much. I don't know if they protected MJ. Maybe a little bit. I mean, he did push off on Byron Russell there to win that championship game against the Jazz, but that's about it. John Spartan, you are fined 1 credit. Yeah, how many credits would I be fined just for doing this show? And how dare John Spartan not know the 3 seashell method? That's all I could say. Did we ever figure out, did they ever actually write any backstory to the 3 seashells? Anyway, let's not go too deep dive into, we went into a deep dive in MacGyver and Knight Rider yesterday. Let's not do a deep dive on Demolition Man today. I still haven't given you my final score prediction for this Eagles game. I still want to bitch a little bit more about the Phillies here. But Demolition Man is good. I love it. Whenever it's on TV, it's a must-watch. Wesley Snipes, as an action star, severely underrated. Severely underrated. I mean, he's put out some bangers. Is Sunday a scheduled loss for the Eagles? Don't say that. But it might be. It very well could be a loss. It could be. It wouldn't shock me. Didn't they remake Demolition Man? Maybe I'm thinking of a different one of those movies from back then. They could do a time travel one for sure. You could CGI Stallone to make him, well, I mean, I think he's made himself look younger on his own by all the face work he's had done. But that's a different subject. All right, we hit our 20th vote on the poll. Let me refresh this here real quick. 55% say the Eagles win bigly. We're up to 13 likes. I'm refreshing the poll real quick. 55% say Eagles win big. Nobody has said Vikings win big. Eagles win a close one is 35%. 10% of the votes say Vikings win a close one. Oh, U.S. Marshals was a great movie. A severely underrated sequel to The Fugitive. It was actually a really great movie. And Robert Downey Jr. played his part really well in that movie. It was a great flick. Great flick, U.S. Marshals. But you always bet on that. Yeah. That's right, James. Hit that like button. It's pretty easy. YMCA. There's 3 things you do every day, right? It's pretty easy. And not enough people do it, especially not today. It's been a dry week on the algorithm this week. I don't know what's going on with the algo this week. But whatever. We march on. We march on. Probably had more notes written down here. Anyway, so how do I see this Eagles game playing out? You can't sub every day. You can't. But with the amount of fake accounts you've all made, I would think you could. The homer in me. If you watch my Eagles Checked Out, I drop it now every night on the channel or listen to it on the Eagles Pinball Podcast Network. You know I'm very torn on this game. I wrote down 6 different scores throughout this week on different times of how I feel. The homer in me says the Eagles win a close one, right? The Eagles win a low-scoring game. The Eagles offense does just enough. I mean, we could, if somebody found somebody to do it or made another account. Who wins Sunday on the versus Eagles Vikes? The trend this season is underdog teams winning when they shouldn't, like Bengals beating Steelers. Vikes in a close one. I mean, Jonathan, you're not crazy for saying that. I mean, the homer in me says Eagles 24-20. The offense does just enough. They run the ball effectively. They contain, not stop, but contain Justin Jefferson. But there is a part in the recesses of my brain, okay, that says the offense, while a problem, is not as big of a problem as the Eagles' defense. Because the Eagles' defense has been bad. Much worse than you realize. And there's this little spot in the back of my head. This one score I wrote down that I just keep staring at. And it's possible. And it's not Vikings in a close one. It's Vikings in a big one. It's 33-21 Vikings. I got this. I'm predicting 24-20 Eagles win. But there's just something in my mind, something in my gut that says the Eagles are going to get smoked again. And then we're going to have real turmoil in Philadelphia next week. I'm not saying that. Who's your top 5 villains in action movies? Bob from Bloodsport is my favorite. Top 5 villains? I mean, you kind of got to give me more time than just to I'll write it down. I'll really work on that over the weekend. But top 5 villains. That's a tough one, man. So many of them. The Warden in Shawshank Redemption. There's a villain right there. Blofeld from the Bond series of movies. Got to put Blofeld in there. Blofeld. I don't know. So many great ones. Would Nola have started Game 5? Who knows? Ace Frehley passed away. Breaking news. If a Vikings blowout, Carson will have 4 touchdowns. I just have this fear, Adam. I do. It's Jesse and James from Team Rocket. It's not an action flick. True. Okay. So he is saying action flick. Gotcha. I'm just thinking of villains out loud. So I guess Shawshank isn't an action flick, so to speak. So let me do a quick Google search here. We got 15 minutes here. Top action movie villains all time. Let's just see what the list brings up, and it'll help me figure this out. The Joker from The Dark Knight, obviously. That's a great one. Yes, Blofeld popped up. Tony Montana, maybe. Hans Gruber, there's a good one. Mr. Joshua, yes, that works. Bill from Kill Bill. Bodie, no. I don't even think Bodie was really the villain. That's the one I was thinking of, the one of the Seagal movies. Richie Mondano. Richie Mondano would be in my top 5. Cold-blooded. Heartless Richie Mondano. It's a dome, and the Eagles have 10 days to prepare. If Hurts doesn't throw for at least 300, yeah, look, I get it. Vikings are coming off a bye week, too. Just so you know. I'm looking at all these names here. General Hummel, no. Castor Troy. There's a severely underrated action movie, Face Off, with Travolta and Cage. Great freaking movie. Brad Wesley, no. Just looking at all these names. Owen Shaw, no. Sheriff of Nottingham, no. Agent Smith, maybe. Yes, Ming the Merciless, yes. Interesting. I have to do some research on that. With which take? Which take do you agree with? There's a lot of takes that are great that I have today. Anyway, so I'm scared. I think the Eagles win 24-20. But there is that gut feeling that we get blown out in this game. And again, not because of the offense. Because I think people spending all this time this week talking about the offense being bad, and it rightfully so is bad. I don't think enough people have talked about how this defense of the Eagles, of Vic Fangio, has not performed to Vic Fangio's levels and standards. Dude, Castro, I mean, when we talk about action flicks, when we talk about movies, period, does anybody ever talk about that? I don't think so. I go down some rabbit holes occasionally. Nothing wrong with a rabbit hole here or there. Who was covering Justin Jefferson? It's going to be Quinyon Mitchell, probably. Which, am I the only one that's concerned that they're bringing back Quinyon Mitchell too quickly? Maybe I am the only one concerned about it. It will be a close game. It will be on the offense. Maybe. Offensive genius Nick Sirianni. No one ever said that. I could eat a peach for hours. That's great. I like that. I am very concerned about Q coming back the week after having a hamstring injury. It really is. Scheme, Coop, and Q are covering JJ. Yes, I agree. I agree. And you're not going to stop Justin Jefferson. Either one or two of the greatest wide receivers in football right now. Him and Chase, that's it. There's no one else even close to them. But if you can hold them to 8 or 9 catches for 100 yards, no touchdowns, that's a win. It's keeping them out of the 150, 200-yard categories. Keeping them out of the end zone from scoring twice. That's what you got to do. You stop him, you win the game. No, I didn't. What? Can we get the pressure on Carson Wentz? Way more concerned about you. Oh, I'm concerned about him too. And I've said that. We've talked about that this week, Nooms. I don't think enough concern is going around Philadelphia this week with the defense's performance through 6 weeks. About how soft the defense. Look at the way the defense played against the Giants last week. And I know Q missed most of the game. Carter missed the entire game. But there was no life, no energy, no hustle, no fight. It was soft. The Eagles' defense has been soft. And that scares me. If you go into this game and play soft defense, uninspired defense, I don't care if the Eagles' offense puts up 40. You're not winning this game. A couple of weeks ago, I know it was against the Bengals. But that Bengals team did just beat the Steelers last night. This Vikings team put up 48 with Carson Wentz as the quarterback against the Bengals. Now, I know there was a pick 6 from Isaiah Rodgers in that game. Cameron Poe. How would you rate Denzel Washington's bad guy performance in Training Day? Was he convincing? Training Day, I mean, it was a phenomenal performance by Denzel Washington. Phenomenal. How would I rate it, though? Or how would I go into detail of that? Something about Training Day, I don't know what it is. People put it in their great movies of all time. And it is one of Denzel Washington's best performances. But something about that movie, while it's really good in my mind, I don't think it's as great as people think. And when it's on, everyone's like, oh, when I see it on the TV guide, boom, put it on. When I see it on, I check to see what else is on first before I go to Training Day. Equalizer outdoes Training Day. Facts. Facts right there, Nooms. 100% facts. I don't disagree with that one iota. Don't. Something about Training Day just, I don't know. It's a really good movie, but not great. Denzel Washington's the only reason why that movie was even really good, in my opinion. Anyway, we're coming up to the final 5 minutes of the show here. Final thoughts on anything Eagles-Phillies related. Make sure to hit the buttons. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. You love to. I could say it, but reading it makes it a lot harder to say. A lot of his other flicks do. And I don't know why. I don't know why, Nooms. Something just doesn't sit right with me on Training Day, and I can't put a finger on it. And I've never been able to put into words my thoughts on that movie the right way. Well, Eva Mendes is this in everything she does. Top notch, underappreciated. And Ethan Hawke was pretty good. He wasn't great. Never be able to put that movie into words. I'm not sure why, but it is what it is. Did I cover all my notes? Did we talk about how great Brian Flores is again? I don't think so. Do Vikings fans hate us? Why do I have that written down? Who said that earlier this week? And I never got the answer on that. Yeah, I think I covered all my notes. Yeah, how about my notes from yesterday? Yeah, I think I did. Denzel Washington's put together some good flicks. Didn't Denzel Washington announce he's retiring soon from making movies? I don't know. The algorithm's going to pick up all this movie talk for shorts. That's for sure. I know that. I don't know. Ugh. I'm just going to sit here and read comments for the next 5 minutes. I'm going to go Eagles 24-20. But, man, 33-21 is sticking in my craw. Say his name, and he'll appear. I believe in Mitchie Poo. That's basically what we're at, right? That's what we're at. I guess everybody else like me is tuned out for the show because YouTube just dropped off to from 17 to 7 like that. We didn't get to 769. Only 15 likes, 21 votes on the poll. What is with the algo with movie stuff in this channel? I don't know. Dave Dombrowski presser was a depression. Brian Flores' D is not intimidating. How is Brian Flores' D not intimidating? They haven't given up more than 24 points yet this year. And yeah, Dave Dombrowski, Jonathan, it was a very depressing press conference. And we covered it a lot. It's been a slow week. Only gained 8 subscribers this week. Haven't had big numbers this week. No 200 view shows this week. Even some of the shorts aren't hitting this week. I don't know. It's like somebody said something. YouTube was acting wonky. It was again. Gotcha. I mean, obviously there was the YouTube outage on Wednesday night. A lot of things going wrong with YouTube. I mean, yes, Wilford Brimley, diabetes is the worst villain of them all. No doubt about it. Is YouTube doing that thing where it's not showing up on not showing the videos? I don't know. YouTube's been wonky all week. They need to get their shit right. Google needs to figure this shit out. I honestly, though, this week didn't even know Google was in charge of YouTube. I had no clue. But whatever. Anyway, I think with that, we're going to call it an early day. We're going to call it 2 minutes early here today. Got a 20-second vote? All right, there we go. Wilford Brimley, make sure you get all the people in the cemetery with you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate it. But anyway, guys, we'll be back Sunday, about 12:50 before the Eagles game starts, for sure. I think they're very intimidating. He's one of the best defensive coordinators in football, and I guarantee you Brian Flores will be a head coach next year. Guarantee it. There's no way he's going to go another coaching cycle without getting it. It's always great shows. Whether 100 people tune in or 300, Adam, it's always a great show. Every show is a great show. We're coming up on the 5-year anniversary of the start of Trending in the AM. November 1st, 2021. No, 4-year anniversary. Sorry, entering season 5. We're coming up on the season 5. November 1st, 2021 was the first Trending in the AM. And it is almost there. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. Phil verse 100, Pump Man. What? Marshawn, how you doing today? You're a little late to the show today, Marshawn. You know, what happened to Flores is a travesty. It is. The first show I ever had that blew up was that the day after that happened, and we dove deep. We got very serious about racism, about this kind of stuff, and we got really deep into it on that show. Anyway, time to say goodbye. See you guys on Sunday for the watch party. We're not talking anything now because we're wrapping the baby up. You guys can talk amongst yourselves in the chat once I hit end live, but I'm out of here. I got to go to work. It's Friday. Actually, it's not goodbye. It's see you later. Goodbyes are too permanent, Marshawn. My grandma always used to say, you never say goodbye because goodbyes are permanent. You say see you later, right? Yeah, I don't know. You guys must not work. I work. I have to pay bills, okay? I'm not a bazillionaire like you, Marshawn. Anyway, I got to wrap this up, guys. Everybody have a great day. We will be back on Sunday. Have a good Friday, guys. Go Birds. Bubbles up.